What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to G's Garage. Sorry it's been so long since the last upload, but with everything going on in the world, as many of you are probably experiencing, it's getting kind of hard to get hold of materials, get hold of things like that. But today we got a big shipment in. We got one, our drive shaft, and two, the rest of the steel that we need to do the rest of the subfloor. So today we're going to go through, I'm going to show you how our custom drive shaft fit, and we're going to finish the subfloor tonight, just so that we can have that down, and then we can start laying the floor. And we'll also just do a quick overview of what we have now, what we need to start working on, and where this all is going to go. Okay. So here is our custom drive shaft, actually built by Speedway Motors. This is licensed under Speedway, but it's actually built by Fast Shafts. Let's be careful not to drop that out. There you go. It's excellent fit up from, our previous video. There we go. Got a little bit of slippage there. So when the truck actually, when the suspension goes up and down, it can move in and out. All right, so with that in, we can also finish up our transmission crossover, or cross member, our transmission cross member, and put in our NHRA drive shaft loop. Now, from rule book and everything, it needs to be within 6 inches of that front U-joint, so we'll probably come in. We got plenty of room to put a drive shaft loop in and tie it all back in to the actual cross member. So let's do that first. Let's get that drive shaft loop all cut, welded up, and get it all tacked into place. And then we'll pull the cab off here next couple days and do a full weld on everything, because there's still a couple bars here that need to be finished welded. Okay, so NHRA guidelines state a drive shaft loop has to be placed within 6 inches of the front drive shaft from the center. Right there, you can see 6 inches right there, center of that U-joint. So what I did is I came through, and you can kind of see it right there, just took some black electrical tape and set that 6 inches down, so we know exactly where we need to place our secondary drive shaft loop. So let's go over to the welding table and take a look at the loop. Okay, so here we have just a standard universal drive shaft loop from Summit. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up cutting them. I got 2 here, so we're going to cut them in half, merge them. We'll TIG weld this up so it's nice and clean, and then we can place this over our drive shaft and figure out our cross section. So let's cut these down, and that's going to give us, so we'll measure from here to here 3 inches. We'll do the same on the other side. Cut them both to length, and then we will have a total of 6 inches internal, which is plenty for this application. We got plenty of movement, and nothing is going to get tangled up or any of that nonsense. All right, so I'm going to measure these out, cut them, and then we'll come back and weld them. Okay, there we go. So you can see our fitment up real nice, real nice. Just gonna hit it with our file real quick, clean it up, and then we'll get to welding it all up. Okay, so we got everything laid out. It's fitting really nicely. I went through with our file and cleaned everything up, made it all look nice. Now we're just going to use some acetone and some blue rag and just clean up all the oils and stuff that's on this metal. I like using the blue rags because unlike the the normal red shop towels, these leave very little like fiber residue and things like that. So just a little spray there. Just nice little cleanup on there. Just like that. There we go. Look at all that crap that comes off of that. You can see the weld line on this side, so let's keep it uniform. We'll flip them. Make sure they look good, look clean. And then we will get to welding. Okay, so here we're using a number 8 Furick cup. The first time using this one actually. We're gonna try it out together. It's a gas lens, so there's a lot less turbulence and you get better gas coverage when you're welding. So we're gonna use this. We've got a nice sharp tungsten in there, courtesy of our Eastwood tungsten grinder. If you don't have one in your TIG welding, it is the way to go. They're about $100, but they save you so much time and so much energy. Definitely worth the investment if you're gonna think about doing this long term. So we got our machine set, we got our torch set up. We have our filler metal here, which is just a ER70 S6, which is a standard mild steel filler metal, which I also like to clean up. So let's get to it. Definitely not my prettiest, but hey, she will do. All right, so now with that all done, let that cool off for a second. Slip this over the drive shaft and we shall then figure out what else we need for our height on our crossbar, and then we can cut that, start notching all that out and get that going. Okay, so we have our drive shaft hoop over the drive shaft, and there you can see our line. So right now I just have it dangling here, and then we'll center it up. I mean, it should center itself fairly well, 2 circles. And then we'll just pull a measurement from here to the frame rail on each side, and then we'll know our cut. And then we'll take into account our inch tube diameter, and we will be able to notch that tube out and weld it all in. Now, right now, I mean, due to the clearance, we should have about 3 inches up top, just holding it off the bottom of the floor. And then, you know, we have plenty of room for travel down, of course. So, set that back there, and we will get our measurements. Okay, so we have 13 inches to that side. If we scoot on over to the other side, we have 13 inches to that side. Cool, so that means that we have done something right and everything is square. So we're gonna have to cut an inch longer on each side so that we can get our cope in here. And we'll come back and we might have to clean it up just a hair here and there. But as long as everything stays centered, I mean, it's not gonna affect anything. Next thing we'll do is we will pull off of this cross member up here and pull back to exactly where this thing needs to sit on the frame rail and go from there. Okay, here is our 2 pipes or tubing. 2 pieces of tubing that will support our drive shaft loop. I was wrong in my previous measurement. We only had to add a 1/2 inch because we're only going to cope this 1/2 inch for a 1-inch tube. So we went with 13 and 5/8. Ended up we had an extra quarter, so we just split that quarter in half. Whatever. So next thing is we got to figure out how we're going to measure from there back on both sides, so we can figure out exactly where this drive shaft loop and its actual stays will be. So let's figure that out and go from there. Now everything should be fairly symmetrical to the whole thing, because that's the way it's built. But you never know. Something might have gotten out, you know, 1/8 of an inch or something like that. So we might just have to adjust. Shouldn't be, i.e., keyword shouldn't be. So let's get to that. Okay, so we revised the plan a little bit. So drive shaft loop has to be within 6 inches of the front yoke, right? That means it could be further up near it. So the original plan for the floor was I'm going to come in and put another piece behind this to tie in the original back structure here. With this back at the 6-inch mark, it eliminates the possibility of doing that. So it would be very hard to connect the existing floor to the new floor that we're putting in. So what I decided to go with was we move it forward. And this way we have as much room as we need, all right? And we can put this absolutely wherever we want. I have another driveline, transmission tunnel and everything that we have plenty of room to work with. So we're gonna go that route and put it in up here close to the front yoke and just eliminate the original issue that putting it at 6 inches would have been. Plus, this guarantees that any safety inspector out there in the world cannot say that this is not, or this is outside of our 6-inch mark. It puts it clear, concise, no issues on tech. That's the way we're gonna do it. So now that we have this moved up, I've shortened our cross member to the hoop, and that came out to 1/4 of an inch on each side. So we went from 13 5/8 to 13 3/8. So that should put us perfect where we need to be. Now we just need to, once again, figure out exactly where we want this. Probably like right around in there. And then our hold off on the top and everything else. I'd like to keep it in line with the structure here that we've already put in place as much as possible, because there will be a connector that comes down and tie in the back side of this to make this structure even stronger. And I might even come around and build out this way to even tie this part back in on the back side, kind of like what we did up front where it tied it in with that curve. Okay, so we have taken a measurement from our front up here all the way back, and then we've also kept this bar the exact same height as our front bar, so we get a little triangulated session going on. And then we've marked the bar here, so we're gonna tack this in, make sure everything lines up nice. Just put one nice tack on there. Okay, there we go. Just tacked in. Now we can see how our drive shaft hoop is looking. Looks pretty darn good. We will keep probably right around there. Now this thing is definitely probably a little bit bigger than it needs to be by design, but it's all good. We'll make it work. If we need to make it smaller, we can actually we can cut it and sleeve it, and you can actually pin them now from what I've seen. It's a easy way to do it. It actually make removal of the drive shaft a lot easier, but I mean, we're far enough up that we should have plenty of room to slide it out the back. All right, on to the other side, and we will get this sucker tacked in completely. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Nice and pretty. Like, if we have to work with it, we'll just shape the floor a little bit, little body hammer and sandbag action. But yeah, there it is, all tacked up. Now, I know I said that I was gonna do the subfloor tonight, but I haven't put out much content in the past week and a half. So this is gonna be the end of this video. And then the next video, probably the next couple days, will be tackling all of the subfloor and start laying actual panel in. But I said that I was also going to do a little garage update. So with the whole COVID thing going on, and as you all know, it's hard to get materials and stuff like that. We have been doing some cleaning. We just installed a cheap little media blaster. So see how that goes. Seems pretty nice. You know, standard China built. But it was on sale at Tractor Supply, so picked it up. Might as well. We'll use it. But we got our seat in. That's a plus. We cleaned up all this. So now we can start working on getting the bed cut out so we can fit the tubs and the everything else, the fender flares. All right, on to it. We got our exhaust system, our header system at least. So I could have started mocking everything up, but I wanted the floor in so I could be completely 100% accurate when building out these headers, because they're going to be fender wells and they got to come up and down and everything else. And we need to make sure that we have the clearance, right? And the clearance. So I need the floor in so that I can ensure that the way I'm routing this, we don't have any interaction between the header and the tire. All right, so we got that. We got a couple Meladon goodies because, as you can see, valley tray's out. So we're gonna start tearing this down, get it out to the machine shop, get it clean, get it checked. But see, this is the reason why I picked up that blast cabinet. All this stuff, it's good, right? Nothing wrong with it. It's just dirty, it's old. So we hit it with the media blaster, clean that up, paint it black, down the track. All right, so we also got all of our fuel stuff there. We got our electric fuel pump back here, filter, line to connect all the carbs up. There's 2 of the carbs, and that box down there is the other 2 because we're running quad Webers like an idiot. All right, we got a gasket set, oil pump, something else down there I'm forgetting. All right, we have our clutch, we have our flywheel, we have our throwout bearing. Now, this is an all 100% hydraulic clutch setup. So here is new shiny McLeod hydraulic throwout bearing. And there will be a video coming out soon on setting all this up. But right now we've run into a problem with the actual clutch. So this is a twin disc. So that means there's 2 clutches instead of 1, as most of you know. And when I ordered it from Jegs, I said, hey, I called him up and like, really weird build. I know this clutch will work, but can you verify that I'm thinking correctly? The person on the phone was like, yeah, it will work. Verified it myself, everything will work. When I got it, everything here, everything structural is fine. The actual pressure plate mount that goes to the flywheel, the pressure plate itself, the floater plate, all good. What was wrong? The clutches. So we run an 18 spline input shaft. The ones that came with it were a 10 spline for some reason. Even though if you check on all of McLeod's site, the whole 9 yards, this part number 6913-05, that is an 18 spline Mopar. I don't know what's going on with it, but of course, they make very few of these, so they are in production right now, and they don't have any in stock. So that's going to be a couple weeks until we get a new one. All right, there's our intake manifolds, our rear spool, brake pedals, brakes, brake calipers. All right, we have our Hurst roll control that's going on. All of our master cylinders, our roll control install kit. We have the parts now. Here we have all of our wiring harness stuff. So what we were really hung up on though was the floor, because we need to build out all of this. We need to build out these so we can clear the tires. We just needed our steel so that we can finish out the subframe and we can really start in on the floor so that we know how to route headers. We know how all this stuff needs to go. We know where we can mount our battery. We know where we can run our fuel line. It's just been a waiting game. But now we pretty much have absolutely everything in this garage to finish this freaking truck. We have the mounts for the seat. We have everything that we need. Here's one of the floor pans. All right. And then back here, which arrived today, all of our steel that's been needed. But I digress. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching, subscribing, commenting, whatever you do to support the channel. Thank you. In these trying times, be safe, do what you know is right, And as always, make it faster.